Hello and welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. They call me Chris of the Northwest. And we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here all around the globe. So while you're blasting Born to Be Wild from your minivan full of soccer kids, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Oh, you know that. Been there, done that. All right. Well, tonight on this here lovely little podcast, we're talking about challenge caching with our guest Jeff from Cache the Line. Welcome to Caching the Northwest, Jeff. Good to see you again.
Hello. Good to be here.
All right. As always, live audience, I see the chat rolling by. Why do I even remind you? But if you're new here, jump in that chat, interact with us, with our guests, with each other, ask questions, comment. We love hearing from you. You make the show a lot of fun. Share your thoughts with us, won't you please? So we got Chris there. I'm called Wit's End most of the time. And it's time to bring in our challenging chimp. Some say he's been slapped awake by the rosy fingers of dawn. And others say his is one of the 7 wonder whys of the world. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. No, it's a different song.
It is. Yeah. And still smarting from the rosy fingers of dawn, but, you know.
Yeah.
It's.
Does Laura know that Dawn slapped you?
Well, she's not surprised. Let's put it that way. All right.
And do you wonder why you wonder? Okay. Good.
All right. Well, before we jump into any more of that discussion, let's make sure that we throw out our usual quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. First of all, thanks to Land Sharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors, folks. Again, if you're planning to visit Vancouver Island this summer, don't forget to plan a visit to the Shark store. That's 525 Head Street, Esquimalt, minutes from downtown Victoria and Victoria, wherever that is. And of course, don't forget to check out GC5Z4N2 geocaching news. Read all about it. Over 400 favorite points waiting for you to add a few more. Check it all out at landsharkz.ca. And folks, don't forget about our other corporate Denali level sponsor. Well, that is Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com. Learn more about the geotours, both of them. Learn more about the region. Don't forget to download the app and find it all either on the website or on the Facebook group, Explore Gold Country. Now, folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast, we would encourage you to do as many have done before you, and possibly many will do after you, and who knows, we'll see. We like to encourage this kind of behavior, but go check out that Patreon link on the cachingNW.com website.
Thank you so much. And folks, you are already talking so much in the chat, and some people apparently have multiple personalities already. I don't know what's going on. But nonetheless, if you want to get in on tonight's chat, and I know you do, use the hashtag challenge to bring up any topic for our any question for our guest tonight. Throw the good ones his way. We're going to try to stump our guest, and I don't think we can do it. But we need your help. Of course, you can use the hashtag FATAS to bring up anything in the after show, and use the dual hashtags podcast baking and podcast drinking to tell us what you're sipping and chewing on this evening. Could be crunching on if the baking went badly.
We're making some assumptions about what's being baked. Yes.
Ouch. Yes. Never thought of that one. Hey, folks, if Well, I see the comment here. If you want to call in and leave a comment in your own voice, you can call into 253-693-TFTC. Leave a comment, ask a question anytime of the day or night.
And hey, we know some of you have been hitting milestone finds lately.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Where's the call?
Yeah.
Come on. You can do better.
Share it with the community. We all want to know.
Good times. All right.
So
got
we've
some news,
so much
Chris?
We've got so much to talk about. I'm going to jump right into news. Thank you, Land Monkey. This came from the Washington Trails Association on Twitter. It says a Monday through Thursday closure on the Annette Lake Trail will begin July 31st to August 31st. So the month of July, right? Monday through
August.
Thursday.
Okay, that took
I'm
me
sorry,
a moment. I'm thinking
August.
Monday through Thursday is only like 4 days. How come it's the entire month? But now I got it. Like every Monday to Thursday
Yes.
Right.
for the month. Got
For the
it.
month of August.
For the month of August. The trail will remain open Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the closure. We appreciate your patience as we partner with Mountains to Sound Greenway Trust and the Washington Trails Association hikers to finish the much needed work.
Awesome.
So
I'm not
nice.
sure if I've ever done that trail, but it sounds familiar. I have to go check it on the maps.
You know, there's a certain cache up at the top there of that.
Oh, okay. It's that trail. Gotcha.
Yeah.
The cache that shall not be named. Gotcha.
That one, you know, but you can also use the Annette Lake trailhead to get to the ape cache.
Okay. Because I guess I was thinking it's Annette Mountain or Mount Annette or something like that. Annette Peak.
Mount Margaret?
There's Mount Margaret.
Mount Margaret. Oh, so I wasn't even close. All right.
Margaret.
It was another
Annette.
woman's name.
Right.
All right. Well, allow me to be your guide in Washington State this weekend. All right.
Yeah. As long as you go to some mountain or lake with a woman's name, you're going to be fine.
You'll be
And
fine. There'll
by
be a cache.
golly, please take the essentials and leave a trip plan.
You're going with monkey. Well, hey, on that note, I have another related news item, very related to this
Okay.
particular discussion we're having. Folks, if any of you, like myself, use Zolio as an emergency communications device when you're out in the backcountry, be aware they are experiencing some technical issues right now. It's causing delays in transmitting outbound messages, including SOS alerts, for a small number of customers over that satellite-based Iridium network. The company's actively investigating the problem, working with the network partners to find the root cause and resolve it. So they definitely apologize for any inconvenience, emphasize their commitment to timely communication. Users are advised to ensure they have backup plans for emergency communication until the issue is resolved. They're dedicated to restoring normal message delivery and maintaining their reputation as a reliable and seamless service. But, you know, nothing is a substitute for a trip plan. So start there and then work from there and you'll be all right. But good to know. I'm a Zolio user myself. Haven't experienced any issues with it, but I haven't needed to send an SOS recently. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah, right. Good stuff.
It's one of those things that you hope you never have to do, but it's good
Exactly.
to know that you can.
But I have it in case. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up the news for the night. And
It does.
we got lots of people in the chat and lots of hosts here all wanting to talk to Cache the Line about challenges. So welcome to the podcast, Jeff. We're glad you're here.
Thanks. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
And you know, at the top of the show, Chris always says, hey, it's 9 p.m. Pacific. And that's important because not everybody's here on the west coast of the U.S. You're not even close to that, are you?
No, I'm about as far away as you can get to it on this continent.
And you're not even in the US.
No,
There you
still
go.
still in Canada.
So thanks for staying up late. We appreciate the dedication there.
Late? It's only 12 after 10. Or 10, yeah, 10 after
okay.
12.
Okay.
Maybe it is late. I'm getting my hours and minutes mixed up.
It's very early, actually, for you.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, right? Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, tonight we want to talk challenge caching with Jeff. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. Now, we know you're in Canada somewhere, and that somewhere is kind of east based on the time. But tell us where you hail from and what got you started in geocaching.
Well, I think an easy way that I like to explain it is I'm about 50% Scottish, 50% British, and 99% Canadian. I was born in England, but moved here when I was just barely a baby. But for geocaching, I started in 2009. I was looking for games, and somebody said, "Hey, you should try out this geocaching thing." So I picked up this mobile game to try, and then a few days later, and never looked back.
Yeah.
I just love the adventure and the activity itself. I think it was really the challenges that hooked me. In the first year of geocaching, the first major challenge I completed was the Tequila 81 grid, which is pretty much the same as the California Fizzy, but for 2016, I think is the year. Something like that. Basically, completing a Fizzy with caches placed before a date, just like California Fizzy, but a little easier a couple of years later.
So this doesn't involve taking 81 shots of tequila?
No.
No, I'm not.
But I think some people do that when they complete that challenge. They will take some, yeah. No, the cache owner is Tequila. That's his name. So it's Tequila's 81 challenge Fizzy grid. And yeah, like the bar was set with the first 5.5 cache that I ever found, which was GCWD 13 out of Seattle, and that really set the bar for a true 5.5 experience. And so I don't think anything's truly reached that experience just yet in the 5.5s.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, Jeff, we've heard that previously, which is why we kind of themed this episode on the topic. But clearly, you're also sharing with us now that you are an expert on challenge caching. But maybe what we could do is for some of our listeners who might not be fully aware of all the details of what challenge caching means. We talked a little bit there just about fizzy challenges and such, but can you maybe define what a challenge cache is?
I kind of like to look at challenge caches as like a personal goal-oriented layer over top of geocaching, kind of like geocaching is over the real world, as we like to call it, or like the cache line is over life. there's so many caches to find, and it can become come repetitive after a while. It's like if you get out caching a whole lot, then you're just finding a whole bunch of caches, and quite often you find people just kind of skipping them because it's just your regular mundane cache, and you're going for another target, and so it can be kind of repetitive in that way. So we tend to look for other ways to entice ourselves in the hobby. What makes us get out there and find more caches, and that's usually what we tend to target on, whether it's like paddle caching or tree climbing or hiking or camping. There's something that we enjoy about it, and so that's what entices it, what we enjoy most about the hobby. So for me, it's goals and challenges, directed missions over the worldwide game board. If there's something to aim for, then that's what entices me.
So a challenge cache, just maybe for any of our listeners who might not be fully up to speed on that, the idea of a challenge cache is in order to log a particular cache, usually a mystery cache, I believe, and in order to log it, you have to qualify to log it by having achieved or met whatever the particular challenge it sets forward is, either filling your 81 DT grid or finding caches of certain ages. I guess back in the day, before they had the moratorium on challenge caches, it could have been just about anything, like spell my last name with caches, right? Like there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And I think a lot of new people don't realize how how fun it is to look at your statistics or even know that they're there, because you're finding caches, but because every cache listing has things like difficulty and a terrain and attributes and location and countries placed and all this stuff, you can parse all of that into statistics. So you go to your statistics tab, and then you get all this information about your entire geocaching career. And so that's kind of what birthed this whole idea of challenge caching. A little additional requirement saying, in order to log this cache as found, your statistics have to show that you qualify doing some particular task. And so, it's just attractive to a lot of people, and it just took off.
Awesome.
That's great. There's so many different types of them out there. And, some of us more rather inept cachers can find any geocache 1-1 a challenge, but it's good to know that this is a specific thing. And there's so many different types of them. And of those types, do you have a favorite? And if you do, why is that one your favorite?
It's hard to nail down a specific challenge. I personally, I just like creatively themed challenges. So whatever it might be, whether it's really hard or really simple, if it's creative and it's themed around something, then I like it. So a lot of those, unfortunately, are no longer allowed with the newly updated guidelines. Things like, completing A to Z, geocaches that start with A to Z, or completing a pattern in the GPS coordinates on the planet, or something like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that is endlessly creative, but people just didn't like them because they're tedious to track and all this stuff. And so that was part of the new guidelines that basically limited it to your statistics have to show it, and that's it. So no more bookkeeping work like that. But those were my favorite types of challenges. But they were accessible to everyone as well. Like it wasn't like it's easy to. It's not like a challenge where if you have 10,000 fines you qualify. It's like it's something that everybody can work towards, whether you've got 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, because they're still all out there. So it's the things that you get you examining what's out on the map. So yeah, like if you get this challenge that says find a certain type of geocache that's out there, then you have to get onto that map and you have to go searching around and finding things. And that's kind of another form of exploration and discovery that I kind of like, especially when you're on the road.
Yeah, and creativity always rises to the top, I've found.
Yeah, without a doubt. Wet Coaster asks, how many challenge caches are there in Ontario? And we just happen to have an answer from Bryling, who says there are 1,544 with the word challenge in the name, but of those, only 1,473 have the challenge cache attribute. Now, we assume you've done all of those already and are moving on, but with just that sheer number of challenge caches in the area, how do you maintain your list of challenge caches? I'm sure you're working on multiple at a time. How do you keep track of all that?
There on my list that I just pulled up, I have a bookmark list, and or a search bookmarked, and based on that, I have at least searching by Ontario, cache type, and the attribute. So not even with challenge in the title, just by the attribute. There's 1,476 active challenges in Ontario. So I use that list to populate a couple of bookmark lists of all of the caches in Ontario, mainly because Ontario is my home province, and so it's a lot easier to just look at that and be like, oh yeah, I can just drive out and grab that or something like that.
It's not a
Start
small
crossing
province.
No, the north, I'm tempted to put the north half in a different bookmark list. But yeah, pretty much any Ontario challenge, you'll see that bookmark list, either part 1 or part 2, because you can only have 1,000 per list. But that's the main list. I like to keep them there as a quick reference. That also keeps archived challenges as well, so it's like a perpetual back through time. But personally, I have a separate document, a separate list that is kind of my own formatting to list all of the challenge qualifications, like the types of challenges, and then the GCs that are related to that. And then it's just a matter of periodically I can go through that list and check my stats and say qualified, or update how close I am, and that's the entire list. And then if I go and find a challenge I don't qualify for, I can mark it off on that list. Or if I qualify for a challenge, then I know I can go out and find and log that cache. So it's just a quicker way of using lists than the bookmark list, which is somewhat limited on the website.
Yeah.
But that's the easy way I find, and I recommend that for people as well. Like, have a bookmark list for caches you've found but not qualified for, caches you've qualified for and not found, And if there's challenges that you think are pretty impossible, then drop them on there as well, just as a reminder. You're never gonna get that. Like 1,000 days of consecutive days of cache. No, not anymore.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ain't
That's
nobody got time for
interesting
that.
though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
I said, ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, I really like the idea, the way you're doing that of separate lists. So these are the ones that I'm working on that are in progress. Here's the one, and then I guess once you've completed the requirements, you move that to the next list. Jeff, is that?
Yeah. So if I have a list for near completion. So if I have a challenge that's on the near completion list, and then I go through that and I say, oh, I qualified for this one, but I haven't found it, then I'll add it to my qualified but not found list. And to make it easier when you're looking at the map, and I know a number of people who do this, I recommend editing the coordinates, the corrected coordinates for yourself on the listing. And then it appears on the map as an updated coordinate, and it's kind of like solving a puzzle. You know that that's where the cache is. When you pass by, you can sign in and log it found.
Laura
So
does
that's
that.
a visual indicator that you've qualified, and you can log it.
Yeah, that's handy. We've got some great questions for Jeff popping up in the chat. Did you want to grab
This one
someone,
from
Chris?
Doramore I thought fit to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
She says, I don't like it when challenge caches become moving targets. The cache owner shouldn't be allowed to change DT ratings or attributes once a cache has been found more than once or twice.
Interesting.
Now, is that referring to the qualifier caches? So, like, say you're trying to complete a fizzy grid, and then you're one DT away. You go and you find that DT, and then suddenly there's another hole way over there, and you don't know what cache it was because somebody changed it. Yeah, that's annoying. Project GC has a solution to that.
Cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Project GC keeps a record of all of the updated difficulty and terrain. So you can, I think, if you're a premium member of Project GC, you can use that tool to see what changed, and then beg the challenge owner to let you qualify, because it was there when it was there.
Yeah.
According to his picture here, the Dread Pirate, Kid Vegas 19, says, do you use Project GC in tracking all of your challenge caches?
I don't actually use Project GC to track the challenges. They for the statistics, it's interesting because yes, they have on your Project GC stats, there is a tab for challenges. So you can take a look at that and then see of just the challenge caches that you found, what your statistics are. I think it's possible, I believe, to have a challenge based on the challenge cache DT grid. So if you found all 81 difficulty and terrain combinations as challenge caches, then you could qualify for that challenge.
Wow.
But that's a little
it's getting pretty
Inception
meta
going on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But apart from that, no, just bookmark lists in my own list. It's the easiest way. I mean, everybody tracks their own stuff different ways. People who love pen and paper might keep a list on their fridge or something.
We know people that use notebooks.
Exactly.
Keeps a notebook on them at all times for just such a purpose.
Some people juggle geese.
I know Project GC will do a challenge checker for you if you're a premium Project GC member. So it'll go through and run all the project or all the challenge checkers it has available against your finds and show you which ones you qualify for.
Yeah, that is a handy tool. You could use that if you're a premium member. The thing with Project GC is there could be a delay. If you're premium, there's not as much of a delay as opposed to if you were to just hit the check my stats button immediately.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a background passive auto update if you're a premium member. It's handy because if you're going to a new place and you see a challenge cache and you go to that page, it might already tell you if you qualify or not, which is kind of handy. But it's a passive, nice little bonus for premium.
And we've pulled up here on the screen for those listening at home or wherever you're listening and you can't see the screen, but Wet Coaster referred or mentioned what you were talking about just a few moments ago with Project GC, Jeff, where you can track if somebody changes the DT for a cache you've found. He notes it is a premium feature. It's on Project GC under Tools. It's called DT History. So if you want to play around with that at home with your premium membership to Project GC, because of course everybody needs a premium membership to Project GC.
It takes a little getting used to the result on that list because there's so many different ways that the DT history can be shown. Because it's like if you've already found a cache, it can tell you whether you what the DT was at when you found it and whether it's changed since then or whether it changed to what you found it as. And all the variations of that as well. So it takes a little bit getting used to figuring out how to read the list, but it's so handy.
I hadn't thought about that, but I see your point. Yeah.
All right, so you're really organized with lists for all these challenge caches out there. But as we were saying, things change. You find a hole in your fizzy grid. Is anybody that's tried to do a blackout challenge knows that sometimes you turn around and all of a sudden that area is not blacked out anymore. So new things come up, and that's one of the things we love and frustrate us about the hobby. How do you find new challenge caches? Do you have a particular search method that you use, or I don't know?
Well, I generally, like I said, I keep the a list of challenge caches in Ontario because that's the easiest accessible for me. But to do that, I just have a bookmark, like a URL, a web page bookmarked of the search results. So I just went to the advanced search and added filters for the location, obviously, but changed the type to a mystery and the attribute for challenge cache, and that's it. Because now challenge was required. I don't believe challenge in the title is required anymore because the challenge attribute is required, and that was retroactive. So you could just search for challenge cache attribute, and then you get that list. And because it's all those filter options are stored in the URL, then you can just add it to your browser favorites or bookmark and then come back to it every so often.
Great.
So the other way that I do it now, to find out if there's any new challenges within Ontario, because that's just for all of them, I have an additional filter option set for a few things. I've got, for myself, I've got not found by me, caches without personal notes, and original coordinates. And so with those three filters on, now every time I come back to that list, I will get just all of the new caches that I haven't looked at yet. And that's when I'll say, okay, add all to the Ontario list, because these are all caches that haven't been added to that list yet. And then I'll go through one by one to see, okay, how am I qualified for that? Am I qualified? Am I near? Is it something I'm never going to do? Add them into my own lists, and then that list eventually will be cleared. And then I know that there's nothing else new. So that's how I catch everything throughout Ontario.
Okay.
It doesn't get archived. That advanced search doesn't show archived caches, which is fine. But right now there's, I haven't updated the list for a while. There's 40 new challenges in Ontario since
yesterday,
June 15th.
Wow.
List I haven't looked at.
Boy, people like putting
That's
out their
impressive.
challenge caches there.
Southern Ontario is insane for challenges. Yes.
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. I had a question in the show notes, but we've already addressed it, and that's about how you track your progress. And you've explained your list system, which is really cool. I think I learned a new idea that I might try applying myself. Jeff, thank you.
And the other benefit that I didn't mention is if you do that your own way, then you can do things like highlighting certain challenges. So if I know, like, say there's a mega coming up in some state, then I can go through that list and be like, oh, there's a challenge that requires finding caches in this state or X number of states or something relevant to that. Then I can highlight that and say, okay, focus on this for this trip. And so for some of these trips, I've just gone through the list and been like, okay, these are the 5 challenge aspects I should focus on. And then I can search for those and then add that to an itinerary, a trip bookmark list and all that. So that's another way that it can help, because you can actually customize your highlighting and focus however you like.
Yeah, very cool. Well, we had a few more good questions from our live audience for you. Why don't we jump to that one from Wino Seattle?
Go ahead, Land Monkey.
The question from Wino Seattle, directed to you, Jeff. So you have to answer this. None of the rest of us can. How do you search for blackout challenge caches that are now traditionals due to HQ's rules, but may have previously been a mystery? I'm not sure I understand the question.
So I think you might be the general you. So how would you search for blackout challenges that are traditional now, that may have been switched from mystery to traditional?
Okay.
if they don't have the challenge attribute, then they're really
It's
just
tough.
traditional caches now. So like some people have kind of adopted this idea of unchallenges. So they're
Okay.
traditional caches that list, if you want to, you can also try to qualify for this challenge, but it's not required in order to sign and find this cache.
For
Hmm.
additional fun and bragging rights.
Yeah.
Right. So that might be one of the things. So it's now your traditional cache, but
I
there
get
could
it.
be, you could have left the challenge listed on there as an optional thing to do. And I think the best way to find that would to come across a bookmark list and hope it's in a bookmark list,
Yeah.
because there wouldn't really be any other way to find those. There's no classification for it.
Oh, good answer.
Yes.
What else
And-
do we have, Chris?
And you did answer Wino's questions there. Um,
Just Carlo had. Oh, yeah.
I was going to go with Swiftly Golden says challenge caches need their own icon.
Yeah.
Oh, I have opinions on this, but it's too yeah.
I'm glad they have the attribute now. I think that really, really helps.
Yeah. I think HQ went with the most reasonable option, because there are inherent issues with challenge caches and their own icons. There's inherent issues with everything, but I think having the attribute was probably the easiest and quickest and simplest change to make it accessible for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, can you bring up the question for Jeff from Just Carlo? 918,
This one.
that's the one. Yeah. So Carlo would like to know, Jeff, what was the first challenge you completed and how long did it take you?
That is a good question. I'm not sure if the archive challenges are required to have the attribute, so I'm not sure how I would actually search that, except for, well, I don't know, maybe I may have added it into my qualified bookmark list.
So
I'll
it may
look for
not be
that.
the very first one you did, but it's the first one you have recorded in your list.
Yeah. I feel like it would be that tequila challenge.
Okay. The one that kind of got you started right out of the gate.
Yeah. Where's my first? I've got 2 lists of qualified. Okay, so sorting by last found 2010. Oh, DT Bingo Challenge.
Bingo.
Ironman Cache a Day. Oh, maybe the tequila. Okay, tequila. So to the Earth Cache Challenge. Where is it?
You know,
Well,
just,
Jeff's
maybe I
looking
didn't
that
find.
up.
say,
Maybe I
just
didn't
finding
log
our
on.
way says Project GC has a total list of challenges logged.
Right. Yes, that's
So-
another.
Another way to look it up.
Just saying.
That's all right. We won't put you on the spot too much longer on that, Jeff. But if you happen to figure it out, our audience would love to know.
Well, while you're
I'm
looking
like
for
I need to find it now.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so tequila's 81 proof challenges GC11PZW.
Okay.
If anyone wants to look it up, it's still alive. It's still active out there.
Wow. It's an
Kitty
old cache.
Quest says I like the creative types of challenges too. It's a bit more interesting trying to get all the pieces to fit.
Those are the ones that are a lot of bookkeeping. I think they're called bookkeeping challenges. Yeah. Genies has a great question. And this may be more of a reviewer question, but Jeff, we'll see if you've got some thoughts on it. Genies says, I want to place a challenge cache, but I can't easily find 10 others who have done it, or 10 other people who would qualify. 'Cause I believe one of the criteria in order to have your reviewer publish your challenge cache is that 10 people in your region defined by reviewer, must also qualify for that challenge. I think that's the policy.
And each region may be different. The reviewers might have different, but I think generally, yeah, most regions are yourself and 10 other people. Ontario is huge, so there's been a lot of discussion about whether that's a reasonable requirement. But yeah, I don't know, to find those. All I do is I go to Project GC, and then sort by people who have the most finds within your region, and then run through the checker with the top 10 people and just keep going until you find 10. I think that's the first and easiest way. And I mean that might change depending on the nature of the challenge, but
Right.
yeah, that would be the easiest way, I think.
So if somebody else has already written a checker for the type of challenge you're trying to do, it definitely makes a lot less legwork for you.
Well, yeah, because now you're getting into the process of how to create a challenge cache, and generally, if you know that the challenge you want to do is allowed, then you can go to the Project GC forum and ask somebody to write up a script, and then you have a checker before the cache is even published. So you have a checker, you can run your tests, and then that's the evidence you'd send and then publish to the reviewer. That'd be the general process.
That was the question I was thinking of, is do you create your own challenge checkers?
No, I would like to. There is a new, well, not a new, but a person who writes checkers, who is a script writer for Project GC, Hugh, and he just moved to my area within my city, and so it's great to have met him. And
He just moved from my area to your area.
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's making a name for himself, because all of these recent souvenir challenges from HQ have not had checkers, and he's just been pumping them out for people.
Good for him.
To
That's
watch
awesome.
their progress. So yeah, no, I think script writers can be invited. I think you can have new script writers right now, but you have to understand the language, the Lua language, to write script, and that's the language that Where I Goes are created with. So it's not too hard if you're a programmer, and so it would be nice to be a script writer. But there's so many now, it's not a huge issue.
Now he's back here again.
Hugh, I've been wondering where you got to.
Well, I believe, if without tipping anybody's hat too much, I believe he's attending school in your area, but
Yes.
his family lives here.
Yeah.
There you go. Good for him. That's awesome. Spreading the joy around.
Yeah.
Were there any other questions from the live audience? I think we ran through most of them. Did we?
Yes. I mean, Brylang stated early on that, waiting for it to pop up for me, I completed the I Heart Lighthouses challenge. That's GC for Papa 2 Yankee Hotel. It required 12 caches near lighthouses in Washington, Oregon, or one of the 5 different regions. I finished with finds in PIE, PEI. Sorry, I'm ready for
You
dessert.
just want to say pie. I know.
Yeah, I just wanted to say pie.
Prince
Sorry.
Edward Island.
I was going to say Prince Edward Island. I thought, no, that's just too formal. Nova Scotia and New Brunswick.
There you go.
And I
Or
feel
Nova
like that
Brunswick
is a
and New Scotia. One of those two, yeah.
I think that's a pre-moratorium challenge, because that's kind of subjective.
It
You'd
is.
have to find- you'd have
What's
to
near a
say-
lighthouse?
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
that distance?
It's a challenge out here. And we've enjoyed doing that one, but yeah, because it's fun, right? Because it's like, okay, I've got to go find caches at lighthouses. Oh, cool. All right. I like going to lighthouses. Jeff, I thought we were through all the questions, but there's been a couple more that popped up. Keats has a question. Again, not sure if you've got the answer to it, Jeff, and maybe this is, again, a per reviewer question, but Keats is wondering, is the region that you need the 10 people from, is that based on province or state or city, or what's the territory?
Or
To
is
my
it
knowledge, it's
reviewer area?
Yeah, the reviewers area, and reviewers generally go by region, which would be province, state, or however other countries define regions. It could be a whole country, because there's no boundary for city. So
Yeah.
As far as I know, in Ontario, the reviewers sometimes divvy up areas of Ontario, so they might do certain cache type, publish or review certain cache types in Southern Ontario and Northern and Eastern, but yeah, they still all handle the entire province.
Makes sense. Very cool. Good question, Keats.
Wonderful questions tonight.
I found the first challenge cache, and it was
Yeah.
that I found, and it was a DT bingo challenge, which makes sense because you just have to find one line on the DT grid.
Okay. Right. To get a bingo on your card. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's a little more than regular bingo, but same idea.
Same concept. Yeah.
Now, Jeff, I understand that you've got a special project you're working on as well. Can you give us the 30-second elevator pitch?
30 seconds. Can I speak really, really fast?
We'll talk some more about it, but if there's like an elevator pitch to just help everybody understand what we're talking about.
I wrote a small little thing. Let's see how fast I can get through.
Okay.
What is it that draws you into geocaching, that keeps you going? What entices you? What thrills you? Why? We all know that feeling, the excitement and rush of the find, of the satisfaction of success. It's not just a feeling. We all know that once you're aware of geocaching, you can never go back. Well, there's said to be another layer, another dimension which connects it all together. We travel from cache to cache, waypoint to waypoint, and place to place, a line moving on as we live our lives. And each bump, each spike of success, every smiley nudges us, pushes us forward. Just one more. That is the cache line. That is the effect of the cache line that we feel. And there's a hidden power there that we can tap into now with the cache line cipher disk. These coins are forged in the deepest recesses of reality, and when powered and coupled with the necessary accessories, they can harness various aspects of the cache line dimension by deciphering strange glyphs and codes that may be discovered straddled between there and here. We don't know what could be discovered or unlocked with proper use of the discs, but only time will tell.
Very well done. I got a real Twilight Zone vibe from that.
Now, did ChatGPT summarize that? I got a sense that was Jeff's creativity in there.
It
I'm
was
trying
really
to
well
get
done.
my speaking voice in there as well.
Well done indeed.
If you
Very
give
cool.
me-
So, so the project, kind of going off the elevator pitch there. The project you're talking about, Jeff, it sounds like it's something physical, something tactile that references our experiences as geocachers. Is that a?
Yeah, it's at the very least, it is a collectible geocoin.
Okay,
That's what it is.
that's
At
the
minimum,
ground level that we're going to start.
That's the
from.
ground level. I wanted to make sure that it was something that could appeal to people who just like coins. So that's the ground level. But yeah, it's more than just a coin, as I like to say. There's because it's a cipher coin, there are elements to it that can be used in puzzles, and so you can use it to create puzzles, or you can keep it on hand when new puzzles might pop up randomly, or be sent, or be discovered, and who knows what they might resolve to. There's more coming. Like this is phase 1 of Project EGA, which is something that I've been working on for a few years now. And so this is kind of phase 1. This is the coin aspect that is going to be leading into a whole lot more as the months roll on. Things are rolling now. Things are moving forward.
Very cool.
Nice. We have just Carlos that he ordered his cipher coins earlier today. Excited to receive them.
Mm-hmm. He went with the upgrade, the full set, the quad array.
Nice.
And Swiftly Golden. Also can't wait to order the coins.
Awesome. Yes, this is a little different because sometimes you already have the coins and you're just selling them. This is making use of Indiegogo, which is a crowdfunding platform, kind of like Kickstarter. And the reason I'm using Indiegogo instead of Kickstarter is because with Kickstarter you can. It's kind of like for projects where you're developing one thing and you need all of the funds in order to move forward. So it's an all or nothing sort of thing. If you can hit your target, your investors or whatever are happy, and then yes, the project is a go. Indiegogo is kind of like it has a system that's more optimal for more granular stuff. So you're making a whole bunch of things, and you need to know how many should be made. That's a good context for this. So
pre-ordering. Basically.
Yeah, in a way. They still phrase it as you're contributing to the project because you're trying to fund it and make sure that it can move forward.
Gets off the ground, yeah.
Yeah, in most projects on Indiegogo, the perks are the product themselves.
Right.
Usually with some kind of benefit or bonus that goes with them, just to help people feel like they can contribute and make the project work, but they're getting the product as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an all or nothing. which is nice because all I need to know is for this at least first phase, how many orders to place, how big of an order to place. So all of these are considered orders. You're ordering, you're placing, you're paying right now, and then at the campaign end, the order is going to be placed for minting whatever is needed and producing whatever is needed in order to fulfill all of the orders.
That's awesome. I'm seeing in the chat lots of people saying that they've either ordered or are ordering, which is fantastic. I have been very fortunate in that last month I had an opportunity to sit, Laura and I had an opportunity to sit down for lunch with Jeff, and he explained all of the thought process behind this. And it was fascinating. And I got to actually hold on to a prototype. So I was really lucky. I've actually held a prototype in my hand, which they are, Jeff, they are beautiful. Like, so you said, at the base, if it's like somebody just likes to collect nice quality coins and they're not even worried about the additional levels that the coins can bring to your gameplay, just as a coin, they're beautiful coins. And I'll throw another plug in there. Jeff and I talked, and I do have a special offer if you order through well, not through me, but there's a link that you can go through my web page and content there where you can how does that work, Jeff, if people order with my promo code?
So there's a link that'll take you to the campaign page, and then in the sidebar there's a secret perk, special exclusive perk that gives a little discount on one of the coins and a little extra bonus artwork as well that can come with the coin mount, the thing that's going to come with the coin. And so it's kind of like a referral bonus.
Right. Absolutely. And I I love to support other creative people who are doing neat things like that. So,
and you can still mix and match of the other ones as well. It's just you need to order with that particular perk to start off, and then they have add-ons, so you can add on everything from single coins up to the full set if you want.
Nice.
Now, Land Monkey, when you held those coins in your hand, did you feel any sort of mystical power?
Oh, indeed,
did you
I
have
did.
greater insight into the geocaching puzzles?
It was like
challenges.
Oh, like the room went dark for a moment, and I mean, it was a bit of a darker room, anyways. But I did not have that much to drink, so that wasn't related.
I will add the other nice thing about these coins is that I was working with Chris Mackey, so I have to make sure that he's in there. Chris Mackey is the primary designer of these coins, so I worked with him. Yeah, since mid to late last year, going back and forth on designs to make this work. And I think I described some of that in the campaign, but working with the Mint to come up with something that works. But that front face, kind of show it on here. I'm not sure if it's going to zoom. It might not focus right. I might need to reset it. But that relief on the front face, you can also see it on the campaign page. He came up with that and made it basically like a realistic portrayal of the Cache the Line logo, with the various terrains and stuff. So it's nice. It is nice.
Well, and Swiftly Golden still talking about Chris Mackey says he did an amazing job on the Worldwide Cache Fest coin this year, and everything he does is fantastic.
And it's neat because artists have a style. And you can almost tell when you look at a Chris Mackey coin, you can see this is a Mackey coin.
You know what's funny about that is Chris just made a post recently that I was reading through where he talked about his influences, his early influences. And it was the art for fantasy novels is what his early influence was and what got him into that. And then he's taken that style, and you can see that in that style influence in his work. It was kind of neat to read that and go, okay, I see the connection there.
Yeah, and he really loves the style of the compass rose as well. Like a lot of his designs, you'll see the arrows, the pointers, the star shapes somehow incorporated into the artwork that he makes.
Oh, makes a lot of sense given the hobby, right?
Exactly. Hey, Wits End, there's a Just Carlo comment here that I thought was good.
Yeah, Just Carlos said the teaser videos were very interesting. He said, I thought they might be for a gift submission before the Indiegogo campaign was revealed. So It tells me that there's a little bit more, well, actually, a whole lot more than just a geocoin going on with this. What is somebody in for if they really go down this rabbit hole?
The campaign page, I put all the teasers together into the one video. Seeing if I can get it full width. There we go.
There we go. So yeah, folks, if you're listening to the audio on the screen right now, we're bringing up the Indiegogo page with the photos and videos of the coins.
And one of these, yeah. So I won't play the whole thing, but these pitch videos
tells of the place where it's said that happiness abounds.
So it's basically highlighting the 4 different coin variants. There's Earth, there's Life, there's Sense, which is the dark, glow in the dark, and Quest, which is the golden one. The Quest teaser was the fun one to make. Yeah, I used a phone. That's my footage. I took my phone, stuck it under the water, and filmed slow-mo.
Nice.
It looks pretty sweet. It was neat. It was the first time I tried something like that, and it worked out nice.
Yeah. So which lake are you stepping into, Jeff?
It is actually, it's called Singing Sands in Ontario, and it is just this vast, very shallow beach. And most of the time, if you visit, it's just, you can walk out probably a couple kilometers just up below your knees of water.
Nice.
And so it's pretty popular for people just to have, well, a lot of beach fun. But it was perfect for this.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. So if folks want to see it, the links are there. And yeah, check it out. See if it's something you want to personally invest in and support Jeff's work here.
Yep. And this is also, I was also going to say, like, this is why I wanted to provide something that was collectible, because the different types of coins get higher on the scale of price as well, because they'll offer different things and more exclusive things, trying to add some value to stuff. So some people might look at it and be like, I don't want to pay that much for a coin, which is why there's a collectible version. But if you're going for the full set or other coins, then in a way you're buying into, investing into, supporting all of the stuff that's going to be coming in the future. So there can be other physical things rewarded for solving ciphers and prizes and stuff. And so I want to make sure that there is value in stuff that you're paying more for. You're not just paying more for another coin. You're paying more for all the stuff that's going to be coming. Because I also mentioned in the pitch, in the description, how before geocaching, I was kind of involved in what was called alternate reality games. And it's basically like making use of multiple platforms, cross-platform storytelling, very creative storytelling. And so that's kind of a lot of inspiration for a lot of the things that I've been doing with Cache the Line. Every year around Christmas, I've had GeoVlogmas and GeoPodmas, which kind of turned into more than just geocaching videos, but having an arc, a story arc develop. And so all of that is tying into this. There's like a story world being developed, and it's making use of multiple platforms, multiple media, just to try to provide this all-encompassing geocaching themed experience. And so this is the first phase of trying to move forward with that whole idea, that whole vision.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Lots
it's
to
really-
take in and percolate, but yeah, absolutely.
And I'll relate it back to Project Ape, because everybody knows the Ape
Okay.
caches. Project Ape was pretty much the exact same sort of thing. It was what it eventually came to be called transmedia storytelling. It was promotion for a movie that was making use of real world things, geocaches, partnering with geocaching.com to create this series of very limited exclusive geocaches around the world. And I wasn't caching back then, so I can't remember the details of how it played out. But yeah, there was a story that was unraveling, which led to the discovery of these geocaches. And the first people got there, and they prizes were things like assets from the project, the Planet of the Apes movie, like props from the set and stuff like that. So that was the
exactly.
culmination of that project. And so I'd written an article about that, about how geocaching is one of the tools that can be used in things like alternate reality games.
Right.
It's a really fascinating space, and it's just really fun and exciting to be able to do more like that now.
Very cool. So,
Fantastic.
go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say that's fantastic. APE is actually an acronym. It's alternate primate evolution. So, I mean, taking the Planet of the Apes, but putting a different spin on it. So that, that created a great little backstory. And I'm sure these discs are going to be even more intricate than that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the last couple of updates, or a couple of recent updates, have touched on a little bit of the puzzle aspect, because I haven't mentioned yet, but essentially the way it works is there's the coin, which has a recess, which can use hold path tags. And it can be any path tag really, but in this case for the cache line stuff, they're called cores, and those are the things that power the coins and tap into the power of the cache line dimension. And so you have the disk and you have the core, and there's also the actual puzzles. And so you've got these glyphs, these images that somehow relate to the coin and the stuff that's on the coin, on the back of the coin, made use of with the core and the path tag. So you use those together to solve a glyph, to resolve a message or a puzzle, and then eventually there will be a website where you can put that in and redeem for whatever happens when you resolve that puzzle.
Super creative,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yeah, really high quality. Well done.
Yeah, they're beautiful coins for sure. But so yeah, just from the aesthetic themselves, but then as you're sharing, there's layers to add onto
Yeah.
just the aesthetic, which is fun. It's great and so creative. So Jeff, once again, if people want to get on board and order their own set, where should they go?
They should go to the easy way to get to it is cachetheline.net/artifact. Artifact. That'll go to the Indiegogo campaign.
Perfect.
Or
Fantastic.
if they want to make use of Land Monkey's little discount, you can visit. Haven't said the URL yet. Haven't used the code yet, right?
No. I'll have to do that. So I will. I've got to get on top of that. I've posted it through my Facebook page, but I've got to get I got to get that up on the website. So I will. That's something I can do tonight after the podcast.
Fantastic. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I love the idea of these coins, and thank you for bringing up all these challenges to us, how you manage them, why you're excited about them. It's fantastic. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks. It's great to share. And it's all about encouraging what geocaching has to offer, and the adventure, the fun, the themes, the educate, all of the aspects that we know and love about geocaching. I'm hoping to be able to somehow incorporate into what this can provide. So.
Well said.
Very creative indeed. I covered Jeff right up. Look at that. He transforms.
I can't even wave in the window above me.
Yeah, sure. Jeff was on the podcast.
Like Mike Wazowski.
Exactly.
Too funny. So so thank you very much, Jeff. And of course, as we wrap things up tonight, we want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors. For sure, we want to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. They're shipping those online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com, and don't forget to download the app. We want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Landsharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast, make sure to click on that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
Just like Ackerdoc did.
And Skyhawker. Oh, We're out of order. Chris started and
That's
messed us
right.
all up.
That's
That
okay.
was my fault.
All right,
I'll
let's
say
start
Subway
over
Mark.
again. Let's start over again.
We could start over. I could say Ackerdock.
And I'll say Skyhawker.
And I'll say Subway Mark.
How about geocaches?
Logwork.
Korsgott.
Doramore.
RAR 285.
Ari 54321.
Broncos fan for life.
CRS 98.
Active in the chat tonight, just Carlo.
GeoNav Pro.
Also active in the chat tonight, asking good questions. Genies.
Green words.
Kev MacD.
Also in the chat, Seabeck Tribe.
Mountain bike.
Limax.
Boomer 365.
Segehov.
Alarobrick.
MC3 Cats.
GSM times 2.
Buenos Seattle. So I'm in the chat too.
Oh, Flagman.
J-Car.
Peach of Washington.
Kitty Quest.
B Pendragon.
Wet Coaster.
Kid Vegas 19.
You, Dak.
LG 9000.
Utox 2 Rocks.
Gas Station Tuna.
MNerf.
Just finding our way.
And Teus.
BC Rock Crawler.
Trexer.
Team Noltex.
And closing it out with the Camp Clan.
They're always closing it out.
Yeah, they're great. to keep around.
Oh, folks, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, please click on the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. You can also call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask a question, or order one of these coins any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and even livelier chat. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2023 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
the after show. And we do have some after show items.
There's a
Do we?
few.
How exciting.
First and foremost,
Yes.
Komakino says, it's the kid's birthday.
Well,
happy birthday,
to the
kid.
Happy
There-
birthday, you.
To you. Happy birthday to you.
To
It's really hard to do when we're all on a little different delay.
Yeah.
Singing just doesn't work. I'm not even
Need a
going to try.
metronome.
And first of all, you don't want me to sing.
I was just gonna say, experience dictates the 3 hosts in the same room singing. Yeah, no, you don't
No.
need that.
Well, here, I'll do a solo. This is my birthday song. Ready?
'Kay.
This is your birthday song. It isn't very long.
You're right.
Good.
you
Well done.
Done.
We should save that as a little recording and send it off.
There you go. Brilliant. A ringtone once a year, every year.
Ooh.
Keats 94 is on his cross Canada adventure. If you don't follow him on Instagram or Facebook, you should, because he's got quite the adventure going on. He is heading back into Quebec tomorrow. Newfoundland and Labrador has been a beautiful province. He will need to come back. Whales, icebergs, and even a rainbow. Invited him when he was visiting Twillingate. Awesome. Well, keep up the adventures. Stay safe out there, Keats, and keep sharing. We're enjoying it.
So there was a comma, right? It wasn't a whale iceberg.
No, it was a whale iceberg.
Okay.
Oh, whale of an iceberg. Okay.
No, it's like a whale frozen in an iceberg. It's
Oh,
pretty amazing. Yeah.
a nice a whaleberg. Yeah.
That's what happens to slow whales in Newfoundland.
It's a whale song.
Royal Bergbow with a rainbow too.
A double whale word bow.
Double whale Bergbow.
Wow. I'm
All
not even gonna
across
try.
Beautiful. Keats is never coming
Holy
back
crusts.
now. Oh, he says it's going to take me a while to recover from these black fly bites. My eyelid was nearly swollen shut this morning.
Yeah, that's no fun.
And I think Keats is flying out of Ottawa instead, so Won't be able to pass by and say hi to you this time.
Bummer.
It was a Whalberg, he says.
Whalberg.
Dora Moore's got
How
something
about
to share.
Dora Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, she got her 9,000th fine this week. Couldn't phone it in. No cell service in Alien Lake.
Aline.
Aline.
Oh.
What's the extra E in there for?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, the silent E. Gotcha.
3 M's and a silent Q.
It's
Yeah.
the alley
say that-
northeast.
And there's a
Oh, Alley
silent L in
Northeast.
there as well.
Well,
Alley
congratulations,
Northeast.
Dora Moore, on 9,000. Fantastic.
Indeed. Big achievement.
That's
That's
huge.
awesome.
You know,
10K
you're in
is a
front
big
of the
one.
computer now. You could call it in and let us know the details, but I'm not putting any pressure on you. Okay, a little bit of pressure.
Fantastic. A little bit, just a little bit. Good stuff. Yeah. Well, some great FATAS tonight. I don't see any more popping in there, so I think we're good.
Komakino says thank you to Wits End.
Happy to oblige.
Cool.
Mark Whalberg.
Nice. Nicely played.
Fantastic. So, folks, thank you so much. And Jeff, thank you once again. Where can we go and get those fantastic coins and learn more about this intriguing story?
Cashline.net/artifact.
Love
That's
it.
That'll take you right
Very
there.
cool.
And I'll make sure in my on my website before I go to bed tonight, I'll have my promo code up there. But it is on my Facebook site, so if you go and look on my Facebook page, it's in there.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks
Running
for
a
staying up
campaign like
late.
this is not easy.
Yeah.
Thanks for staying up late, Jeff. It's been fun.
No problem. This is early. I don't think I've been to bed before 2 a.m. for the past couple of weeks.
Oh, so we're not even challenging you.
Oh, no.
Let's go for another hour then.
There's a 2 o'clock in the morning too.
No kidding.
There you
Awesome.
go. Skyhawker
Thanks.
says
Thank
order
you
done.
so much, Dick. Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
great. The goal right now, the stretch goal is 8,000. That's the next goal. And then there's going to be an upgrade to the mounts. And then there's another stretch goal to hit. And there's going to be more stuff coming in short order for that as well.
Fantastic. Wow.
Fantastic. Well, feel free to keep us updated. We'll pass that along if you just want to pop in and say, hey, I just want to let you know what we've done. So when
Awesome.
you hit the 8,000 and then 10,000, and then you have to stretch it to 20,000 just because everybody wants one of these.
That would be insane.
I love it. Folks, and until next week, go out and get some coins. And then